Hello and welcome to a quick conversation on having the right conversations in times that are not quite right at all. My name is Melissa. I'm our Senior Director of Success here at SoGoSurvey, and I've put together this quick conversation for today to help us think through some of the conversations that we need to have and how best to have them in these difficult times. You see that we'll start with a framework here, reviewing that option, and taking a look at some examples using that structure for review. We'll also take a look at some suggestions and then wrap up with encouragement to share your questions and platform-related issues that you might be having. So let's start with the framework here. We know that during these times we have a lot of research that we need to do. We have a lot of questions that we need to ask, but really being able to focus on a clear purpose for every interaction is critical. You know that this is important at every time, but this is the most important piece of any project that you do. The key questions here are: what answers do you need, and what are you trying to accomplish? Notice the focus on the word need here. There's a lot of information that would be nice to have or we'd really love to have. However, we really need to focus here on what we need to have. There are a few things to think about in this area. One of them is connecting with your audience. That could be a clear purpose, just letting people know that you're there to be able to connect with them, being able to start that conversation. Another common purpose is to inform. For example, letting them know about a certain policy or a certain change. We know that a lot of times we're sending out questionnaires or research to be able to collect answers, but we know that we also can provide answers up front as well. Additionally, we're trying to help prepare. That's a really important purpose now, helping our employees or our customers prepare for changes, as well as understanding what those changes might entail. Communicating is always an important piece, letting everyone in our community know that we're still there, we're still communicating with them, and we're open to that conversation. Remember, a two-way conversation, not just a monologue, but a part where you're actually communicating and listening to your respondents as well. The last two items here is a little bit lighter, but equally important in many of these conversations that we're having. Sometimes it is nice to be able to see a little bit of levity, a little bit of entertainment. Again, that's matching the right tone and fits the purpose. However, sometimes that can be a nice way to, for example, keep your team inspired or encouraged and supported. That last item as well too. It's not just from a technical perspective, but from that human touch. We know that we're being asked to step away physically, but that human contact is always very important to us, whether it's with customers, patients, students, or our own employees. Which brings us to audience awareness. We know that this is, after purpose, one of the key questions to ask. Who exactly are you reaching out to, and what do you know about this audience? The more specific you can be with your audience focus, the better off you'll be, the more likely you are to have good engagement with your next research project. So again, prioritizing what are the needs of this audience? What are they thinking about? What are they hoping about? What are they concerned about? When you are able to help people tackle their concern areas, or you're at least aware of them, you're able to tailor the message that best connects with them and make sure that they're going to be getting engaged, because they know that what you're talking about is important to them. With that in mind, keep in mind their goals and priorities. There are many organizations that are, struggling to stay afloat. There are many people who really care about the health and well-being of their family above all else, and rightly so. So recognizing that organizations and individuals may not have the same goals and priorities that you do, you may be reaching out to them for another reason entirely than what they're actually looking for. So making sure that you're able to tailor your message is really critical here in that audience understanding. Again, that goes to perception. The way that you're presenting your information has a huge impact on the perception that your audience will have. So how do they want to be contacted? This could be email, this could be a WhatsApp message, a text message, actual mail in real life too. So thinking about the best way to contact them, maybe when and how. Who do they want to hear from? Is there a specific team or leader in your organization or individual that they have a good relationship with, they want to connect to? And further, how will they react when they get this message too? What's your ideal reaction based on your purpose that you're trying to achieve? So of course, we always think about the appearance of any sort of messaging, making sure it's brand appropriate. It's not overly cheery or it's not overly cartoony in some cases. We've seen some images that sort of make light of the entire situation as if we're living in a strange, video game, but we're trying to keep it professional in most cases, a little bit more subtle than that sort of direct metaphor. Messaging is really important, which brings in word choice and tone. So we know that these are always critical. Using the right word, using the right language helps you hit the right notes with your audience. And question choice, of course, if you are sending out a questionnaire, you want to make sure that you're only focusing on those questions that are required. Anytime that people feel that you're taking advantage of that opportunity to ask additional stuff that's not really that critical, that will turn them off and you will lose engagement. So making sure that you're using, for example, logic or pre-population to be able to minimize the number of questions that you're asking and really focusing on your key priorities are really, really important pieces in that presentation. Finally, keep it real. Why should your audience care about this message at all? Why should they open your email, read your text, respond to your survey, answer your assessment? How impactful are your questions and answers? Leading to, what will you actually do with these results? So we know that we're looking at relevance of the content, again, achieving your purpose with this audience. The timeliness cannot be overstated at this point. If you are looking at messages that come out that seem to have no relevance to the time that we're living in, they are often striking the wrong note. They're coming off a little bit tone deaf, I would say, that it doesn't seem to match with the rest of the conversations that we're having. Otherwise, once you are striking the right notes, you've got the good messaging and purpose, you're going to see improved engagement, which should lead to good results, because we're also looking for the analysis. What are you actually doing with that information, and how will you follow up? How will you communicate with other people? So looking at that, applying that framework, I've got two examples here for you today. Endless options of the things that you could be talking about here. But for our first one here, this is a project that we did internally as well too, the Work From Home Pulse Check. This is talking about healthy habits. So we know that our employees are all working from home at this point too. We wanted to be able to reach out and understand their pain points, provide positive suggestions, and overall see how we're doing as an organization. So you can see that our audience here is all of the employees. The challenges and priorities that they're facing are, certainly adjusting while prioritizing their own health and family. This is a short presentation here, short, direct, professional. We're sending out a weekly pulse survey during this time so that we know that we're able to keep in touch with everyone, stay on top of any trends that we're seeing. And the reality is that we're sharing this with our leadership team, sharing our results internally in our employee newsletter, and building in additional programs to support the needs of our team. So the top of this one, we're seeing, for example, which of the following challenges are you dealing with, including other, which of the following have you tried, and any other additional suggestions. So here we are collecting information, here we're almost providing suggestions, and here we're soliciting additional information or comments from our team. Finally, this how's it going for you question down here at the bottom, this is our trend question. This is what we're looking at results from week on week, so we can see what's the trend, what's happening, what is impacting our employees' overall experience. Here's another example, an external survey in this case, very short, just 3 questions with some sub-questions involved. And this is a customer communication check. So as I mentioned earlier, we're seeing a lot of these messages that just fall flat. They just don't seem to exist in the same universe that the rest of us do. So maybe they were made a long time ago in a different sort of context, but now in this situation, they need to be much more relevant. So why not just ask your customers? So in this case, we're looking out to find our customers' preferences in terms of communication, and then in order to be able to utilize those recommendations for better communication. So here, let's say this is one that might go out to all customers. We want to understand their challenges dealing with their new situation. Of course, they're prioritizing their family and health as well too. The presentation here is short but professional. The thumbs up and the stars here on the right-hand side, that symbol rating scale, a little bit fun, but also very quick, very easy to complete, especially on a mobile phone, for example. The real communication here that we're looking for is being able to share out with the rest of our team. We want to be able to share that with our communication team, for example, and be able to share that out with everybody else too. So another quick example here, satisfaction with our communication channels, different types, and the quality of the content, frequency, and tone, as well as additional options. So here in this case, we know this is not something that we're going to be trending necessarily over time too frequently. Just want to reach out to our clients for a quick hit, make sure that we're getting the right notes here for now, and utilize any recommendations that they have moving forward. So again, there are tons and tons of things that you could be reaching out about, and we have lots of templates and lots of suggestions already here on the travel disclosure form and remote work readiness, needs assessment. Some of these are a little bit past their prime at this point. A lot of things are still changing for a lot of people all around the world, but we know that we're really looking at to sort of the next phase for many of us. That emergency contact update for people who are in different places, have moved, have gone home, have ended up somewhere else other than they expected, making sure that you're able to get in touch with your entire team. Again, just like that customer communication check, maybe an internal communication check. Make sure that the rest of your team feels that they're getting the information that they need. Those work from home pulse surveys, those are very important for us here. And so we're doing them on a weekly basis. So we have an ongoing process. Of course, there are teams that are going to do more in-depth studies about confidence or challenges and that sort of stuff. And we will ask those questions, but we believe strongly that it makes sense to have an ongoing conversation instead of just one single hit. On the customer side, again, how is communication going? How is the support going? And what kind of contact do people want to have? Do they want you to reach out to them more often? Do they want to hear from you more regularly or less often? And finally, on the more external point of view, we're seeing a lot of organizations who are reaching out to say to their partners, could be vendors, could be other associations, saying, how are you adjusting? What are you doing to help us support our ongoing success as well? And that last one there, the volunteer support form, we have a lot of us who are trying to provide support, trying to volunteer in a healthy and safe way. So if you are getting those feedback, you're getting that feedback from your team, or you are an organization that generally has volunteers coming in, set up the option for them to sign up or share what they want to do, share what they're able to do, and also inform them of what you have available too. We know that human resources are some of the best resources for us to use to be able to deal with any challenges that come our way, but sometimes that just needs to be redirected so we know where those opportunities are. If you do have questions about anything in the platform, I would of course invite you to visit our user guide, SoGoSurvey.com/help. And you can also connect with us for a one-on-one chat if you need to, if you have any specific questions. Otherwise, we would love to hear from you sometime soon. Wish you all the best as well as we're navigating through this difficult situation as well. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. You can get social with us anywhere at SoGoSurvey. Thanks so much for your time and best wishes.